Okay, so I was at Home Depot. I was trying to get some rope, and I told the associate if he could come and cut 50 yards for me. He didn't know how to do it, and then he was all like telling another associate, hey, bro, it's recording time.
Hi, I'm Steven from It's Recording Time Media, and I got you a very special guest here. I am here with Vic Mignogna. Did I say that right?
You nailed it, bro.
Thank you. Anyway, Vic, how you been throughout this whole year because of COVID-19?
You know what? I've been doing fine. I've been doing good. I had the chance to record a couple of audiobooks, which fortunately I'm able to do from actually the room that I'm talking to you right now, my little home studio.
Mm-hmm.
So that's been a blessing to be able to continue to work during this time. There have been a couple of events that I've had the chance to go to, and staying healthy and, hoping that this will pass soon.
Yeah, I myself too, because anymore how it keeps growing, I just want to scream COVID in Broly voice.
I was at an event a couple of weeks ago, UltraCon in Palm Beach, and I was doing my Q&A session, and somebody from the audience said, some fan yelled out, "What does Broly think of COVID?" And I said something like, Broly laughs at COVID. Broly's not afraid of COVID. And of course, out come the critics.
Mm-hmm.
And Vic's making fun of COVID. Vic says COVID is a joke. I mean, no. People don't seem to understand, first of all, that when you're on a stage entertaining people, comedians make jokes about all kinds of things, and it seems to be okay.
Yeah.
And yet unfortunately, there seem to be people who are looking for something to find fault with all the time. That's kind of unfortunate.
Yeah, it happens a lot. It's just, with jokes or something like that, it's just the risk.
Yeah. We're learning. Look, I got my Game of Thrones dragon glass. Is that cool?
Yeah, that's like one of the coolest Game of Thrones things I've ever done. I actually gave a friend of mine a robe which says the Mother of Dragons. It's kind of like a bathrobe, which it's just a thoughtful gift from Box Lunch.
Very cool. Well, I bought one for my friend Jeff, and so I got one for each of us, and we're having some wine and crackers and a little cheese right now. But anyway.
All right, on to the questions. Now, actually,
yes.
Well, of course, that was just one of my first ones. Moving on to the next one. Are you familiar with the Dragon Ball Z Abridged from Team 4 Star? And what are your thoughts on anime parodies?
I'm very familiar with it. And I will tell you what I tell a lot of people about Abridged. Live and let live, as far as I'm concerned. When I was a little kid, I made what could be considered Star Trek abridged home movies and things because of my love for Star Trek. So my feeling about that kind of thing is, hey, if people want to celebrate their love for something, go for it. I have no problem with it. I know I've heard that in the Dragon Ball Abridged stuff, they kind of make a joke about how hard Broly is on the voice. And that's fine. That's totally fine. I think it's hilarious. But no, I have no problem with Abridged stuff at all.
Well, it's probably not the actor. It's more like I guess Funimation or Toei, because how Team 4 Star has made a business out of this, even though they say they don't make money from their videos. It's just a complicated thing. Like, what are they doing? Is it right or not? It's because last year when someone asked Sean Shimo about that, he went on this huge rant about it. It's kind of funny in a way, but still it's like,
I'm not surprised that he would go on a huge rant about it. But all I have to say about it is, these are fans. These are people that love your show. You don't alienate people that love your work. That just doesn't make any sense. And, I'm not the license owner. So, it's not my call. But if you ask me personally, what do you think of it? I have no problem with it. I have no problem with fan fiction and things where fans celebrate their love of something.
Mhm.
Obviously, Team 4-Star did not start doing this because they hated Dragon Ball. Obviously, they started doing it because they loved it and they wanted to do something to express their fandom and their enthusiasm. So I'm all for that.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you for that. Anyway, moving on to the next question. Now, last year, or I guess almost 2 years ago, we had the Hollywood premiere for the Broly movie. What was it like, being able to go on the red carpet? Especially, not a lot of voice actors get that privilege.
Yeah, it was an incredible honor. For years and years and years, the fans have been asking for more Broly. And even though he's not a main character, he's not a Goku or a Vegeta, he's always been a very popular fan favorite. And so, I did the original 3 movies and 15 video games, but I always kind of hoped that maybe Broly would come back. And I was really excited when he did, and it was a real honor to be a part of it.
Anyway, tell us about how. Do you remember your audition process for Broly, and especially how'd you came up with the voice for him?
It's funny you should ask. It wasn't much of an audition process because 15 years ago, anime was nowhere near as big as it is now. This was my audition process. I had just done a convention and some people from Funimation were there. I hadn't worked at Funimation. I didn't really know anything about Funimation. I lived in Houston. I worked at ADV. But I met these guys from Funimation, and 2 days after we got back from this convention, I get a phone call. I don't remember who it was, but it was someone that I'd met from Funimation, and they said, "Hey, can you do like a dark, low, angry kind of voice?" And I said, "You mean like over the phone?" And they said, "Yeah, just something." And I don't know, I did something like, "I will kill you." And they were like, "Yeah, that's fine. That'll be good." And I'm like, "What is this?" And they said, "Well, do you know what Dragon Ball Z is?" And I'm like, "Nah, not really." And they said, "Well, it's one of our shows, and we've got a movie coming up, and we're looking to cast this character named Broly. So what you did just now sounds fine." So they booked me to come up and record Broly, the Legendary Super Saiyan, movie number 8. And that was literally the extent of the audition process. Back then, like I said, it wasn't as political. It wasn't as large. The industry wasn't as big as it is now. So it was just a handful of people. And I'm like, "Hey, we need somebody to do this guy. Hey, call that guy. See if he can do it." Like, it was very casual. You know what I mean? It was much more laid back than it is now.
Yeah. Wow, that's very fascinating, Vic. Anyway, of course, when you read the script for the Super movie, were you surprised that Broly was giving a little bit more depth and instead of being one-dimensional?
I was surprised and I was elated, Stephen. One of the things that I always kind of lamented about Broly was that he didn't have much depth. He didn't have much backstory. I mean, really, he's a homicidal maniac because the baby next to him was crying. That's kind of thin. That's kind of thin. But we went with it, and it was fine. When I found out that this was Toriyama's Broly, this was the creator's vision for Broly. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, I know
the original movies were not Toriyama's movies. And this was his vision of Broly. So I not only was very, very honored and excited about that, but when I watched the movie and read the script, I'm like, dang, like they almost make you feel sympathy for him. The way his dad treats him, like a performing monkey, you know what I mean? Like treats him like an animal with that collar around his neck. And he's really kind of gentle. I remember thinking almost like Frankenstein, like Frankenstein's monster. He doesn't mean ill. He doesn't want to hurt people. He just doesn't understand. And he's been victimized, for so long by his dad that, he doesn't even realize why he's fighting people.
Mm-hmm.
So I loved the new take on Broly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we all did too. Anyway, like now, of course, like you passed the torch on to Johnny Youngbosch, who I'm actually know of because he's a Power Ranger. I'm a Power Ranger fan. Like, can you tell us about why'd you pick him to take over the role and did you what you guys talk about like and also did you like prepare him for the screams?
I don't think there is any way to prepare for the screams, but I will say this: I didn't pick Johnny.
Mm-hmm.
I had nothing to do with that. Funimation chose Johnny.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say this. All of my interactions with Johnny have been very positive.
Mm-hmm.
I like Johnny a lot. He's a really good guy. Now, you can't say that for everybody in the industry, but I can say that for Johnny.
Mm-hmm.
He's a good guy. And if somebody else is going to play the character, honestly, I told Johnny this. I said, Johnny, it's sad to lose this role, but at least if somebody else is going to do it, I'm glad it's you.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope that he does a good job. He's a great voice actor. I'm sure he will. And by the way, I mean, after Bleach and all so many other things that Johnny has done, I'm sure Johnny is no stranger to yelling and screaming and fighting. So I'm sure he'll do a great job.
Yeah. And I guess, people are still loyal to you being Broly because I actually saw Johnny at the beginning of the year and throughout his whole panel, not one person asked him about, taking over Broly. None of that. Like, I'm actually going to see Johnny in a couple next weekend, like at an event in Sacramento, and I'll probably tell him about that.
Really? What event is that?
It's this like swap meet that's actually done by Sac Anime. And I guess it's a little hard to book actors. They only get like people to do just signings, no panel whatsoever, just a signing if the actor is willing to do it. And because Johnny lives in California, it's easy for him.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, you give Johnny my best.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, if anyone was going to take it over, I'm glad that it's somebody I consider a friend and a person of quality.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's very lovely. Anyway, like the remainder of the questions will actually be from my subscribers, and they pick really good ones. First one is, which Marvel or DC character would you like to voice in a major CGI film?
Captain America.
I actually have his shield back right behind me.
I played Captain America for a Deadpool live action parody film that you can find online, Deadpool the Musical 2. Mm-hmm. Also, a lot of people don't know this, but I actually voiced Iron Man in the Iron Man anime series.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I saw that on your IMDb or your credits.
I didn't voice Tony Stark.
Mm-hmm.
They had a celebrity voice doing that, but the celebrity voice wasn't comfortable doing all of the fighting and all of the battling as Iron Man. Mm-hmm. And so the studio asked me, that was recording it, asked me if I would do all of the Iron Man battling, fighting stuff, because my voice was similar to the guy that was playing Tony Stark. So I did get to play Iron Man. That was cool. But if I could play anybody, it'd be Captain America.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's very lovely. And I feel like, what is it about the Captain America character you like a lot?
Well, because I love this country.
Mm-hmm.
I love this country. I'm proud to be an American. I consider myself pretty patriotic, which may not be so popular these days, but so be it. I'm proud to live here, and there are a lot of people that would give anything in the world to live here. There are a lot of really difficult places in the world, and I'm very, very proud and grateful to live here. So Captain America represents that, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fascinating. Anyway, tell us about, can you describe your character, Rohan, from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure?
Oh my gosh, I love Rohan so much. He was so much fun to play. You know what? All the conventions that I've gone to over the years, and I always see cosplayers, and they have, I see cosplayers that have this very specific makeup on their face with heavy black lines and really cool cosplay. And I always ask them, like, what is this from? Like, what show is this? And it's always JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. There's a very specific style to JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, animation style. And I always thought it was really cool. So when this season came around that Rohan shows up and I auditioned for it and I got cast, I had the best time playing that character. He was so crazy and weird and over the top in some ways. There's a guy online, there's a fan online who just finished making me a Rohan Funko Pop. If you see behind me, do you see that? You see that shelf behind me?
Yeah.
Those are all Funko Pops of characters that I have played. And I always thought it would be neat to have a Rohan Funko Pop, and this fan is making one, and he sent me pictures today. It looks so awesome. I can't wait to show it on my Twitter and stuff. It's amazing.
Yeah, actually, one subscriber asked me, what happened to your official Instagram page?
I've never done Instagram. Here's the thing, you guys. I'm not a huge fan of social media. I do what I can, but I'm not really good at keeping up with stuff. And I downloaded Instagram years ago because of all the cool filters that they put up. I always thought their filters were so much fun. I never intended to have an Instagram profile, an Instagram account. I just liked their filters. Well, a couple of months ago, the Unlocked app that I'm part of was having some technical trouble. And so we decided to do a live stream on Instagram. And suddenly a lot of fans thought that I was, oh my gosh, Vic's on Instagram. I'm going to follow him now. I'm not really on it. I don't really use it like that. So it wasn't that I had it and deleted it or anything. I never really used it to connect with people so much. I just like the filters.
I admit, I sometimes hate a little bit of the filters because
I know it's kind of lame. It's kind of lame, but you know, when you can make a horse talk or a cow talk or, you know, do some fun things, it's, you know, it's kind of fun sometimes.
Anyway, moving on. Like, how do you think, what would happen if Broly met Edward?
Ha! He'd probably step on him and not realize it.
Wait, who will step on who, Broly or Edward?
Well, Broly would step on Edward and not notice.
Yeah.
Edward would freak out. Broly would probably say something about, "Hey, sorry, I didn't see you down there." And you know what Ed would, you know what that would do to Ed. He would freak out.
Anyway, you recorded for League of Legends. After recording for the game, did you ever play the game?
I did not. In fact, if you look back there on my shelf of Funko Pops, Funko shelf, at the very end is Lee Sin, who I voiced, and really cool character. I had a lot of fun doing it. But you know, one of the downsides of keeping busy with voicing characters is that you don't often have as much time to actually watch the things you do or play the games of the characters you voice. So unfortunately, I have to rely on the fans to tell me what they think of the performance or what they think of the character.
Yeah. People assume that actors like to watch themselves on camera, but not everyone, because it could be just...
Not everybody does. You know, it may surprise you to know that of the 400 roughly anime and video game projects that I've been a part of, I've probably watched 10 in their entirety. Fullmetal, Ouran, D.N.Angel, Generator Gall, Full Metal Panic, Princess Nine. There were ones that I really enjoyed, and I wanted to make it a point to watch them, but I haven't got the chance to watch many. So, like I said, I often depend a great deal on the fans' feedback and what they think of the shows.
And speaking of which, have you ever met any of the creators of the, like, say, the original manga creators of the animes you're in, or your Japanese voice counterparts?
I have met a few Japanese voice actors. I had the privilege to meet Romy Park, who played Edward Elric. That was wonderful. We had dinner, had a great time, and then we even actually got to do Anime Matsuri Houston together a few years back. Wonderful lady. I got to meet the actor who played Ikkaku in Bleach. And I don't think I've gotten to meet any of the mangakas, because I don't think that I've known that whether or not many of them have been at events that I do. I don't know if a lot of mangakas get invited to anime conventions. Obviously, voice actors do. Japanese voice actors do. Obviously, directors do. Artists in some way, in different, sometimes. But I'm not sure how often the mangakas do, which is sad because they're the ones that created the story.
I remember Schemmel talking about that Chris Sabat met Akira Toriyama and he was instructed not to speak to him. Or he's like, I'm hoping Chris could like talk more about that the next time I see him.
Yeah. So I've not gotten to meet a lot of the mangakas.
Okay, all right. Anyway, moving on. It's like, okay, now what is the voice you do for that character in Sonic Omega? Like, what is the voice you do for him before the filters come in?
Well, I mean, it's basically kind of a robot voice, obviously. It's one, if you're going to do a comedic robot voice, you don't typically use as much inflection. So instead of saying, I don't know where everybody went, you would say, I don't know where everybody went. And you don't employ as much dynamics, soft and loud, and it's just all the same. You know what I mean? He was a lot of fun. And then when I heard the effect that they put on him, I loved it. I thought it was really fun.
Yeah, that was really good. I mean, sometimes I'm always curious to know, like, how, do they just do their regular voice and then just throw in the effect? And it's like, nope, you gotta act right.
No, actually, I didn't even hear the effect when I recorded Omega. I was pleasantly surprised. I mean, the director knew what he wanted. So I would do the line and he would say, okay, do this or change this. And I would do it. And he'd say, okay, let's go to the next one. And it wasn't until the game came out that I heard the effect, which I thought was pretty fun.
Yeah, that's amazing. Anyway, now this is more of your opinion. Like, what, in your opinion, what is the most popular anime on the planet? It doesn't have to be like anything you're in.
Oh gosh, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know that I'm the one to ask. I don't know. I mean, you obviously think that the ones that have been on television typically are going to be the most well-known. So if you're using that as a judge, it could be Pokemon, could be Pokemon, Digimon, could be Dragon Ball. I mean, who knows? One Piece, who knows? I don't think I'm a good person to answer that question. I don't know.
I don't know, to me, probably Pokemon, because even my parents know what Pokemon is.
Most people do. Even if they've never watched it, they've heard it referenced. And then, of course, with major movies coming out, like the Pikachu detective movie and stuff, it's not that people watch Pokemon because of it, but they know what Pokemon is.
Like, know of it. Yeah.
Right.
It's like, not everyone can watch everything in the world. Anyway, moving on. It's like, do you have plans to do another music album?
Thank you for asking. You know what? I've been wanting to. And maybe all this time we're all spending at home so much, maybe the good time to do it. I have an idea in mind for it.
Mhm.
I know kind of what I want to do, but right now I'm deep in the middle of, excuse me, I'm deep in the middle of an audiobook.
Mhm.
So once that's done, I may start working on another music album.
Mhm.
But thank you, whatever fan sent that question in. I appreciate you asking.
Yep.
Music is my dear love that I've been doing twice as long as I've been voice acting. So thank you for asking.
Yeah, I'll let my subscriber know that. Anyway, here's kind of something I thought was a joke, like how Will Smith was inside a library one time and he started like autographing his movies. I was thinking, what if you went inside a library and just autograph any DBZ mangas or any mangas of your stuff?
I'd probably get in trouble. They'd probably call the cops and they're like, this guy is defacing our books.
Vandalism. Yeah, actually, the library, they didn't have a problem because Will Smith was shooting a movie in there and they just gathered it up and put it behind a glass case, and they're saying we're still looking for this vandal. I mean, it's just like a generous thing for Will.
Will Smith is a real celebrity. Will Smith is a celebrity. I'm not in that way, so I'd probably get in trouble.
Yeah, nah, I think they would appreciate it. Anyway, okay, here's the final question: do you want to see a series or a movie of what happened to the Brotherhood from Full Metal, or do you just want it to be like forever a mystery to the audience?
No, that's a hard question because I think Full Metal is definitely my favorite thing that I've ever done. Mm-hmm. I had such a great love for that show and the story and the characters. Mm-hmm. I would love to see there be more, mm-hmm. but it's not my decision. It's the people that created it and their decision. Mm-hmm. If they feel like there's more story to tell, okay. If they feel like there's more story to tell, mm-hmm. there are too many movies and anime and TV shows that just try to suck every penny out of a show they can. Like, if the show's popular, let's make more, even if there's really no more story to tell. Even if, they end up doing a lot of filler stuff. You know what I mean?
Now I'm just referencing my Avatar: The Last Airbender. 3 seasons good enough. We don't need like sequels or anything.
Hey, guess what? I'm watching that right now.
Yeah.
My girlfriend loves Avatar: The Last Airbender, mm-hmm. and she is getting me to watch it, and I'm getting her to watch Star Trek. So I'm really enjoying Avatar: Last Airbender.
Yeah.
But what I was saying was, if there is legitimately more story to tell, mm-hmm. good, go for it. Mm-hmm. But we all know of many, many examples mm-hmm. of movies and TV shows that they just make sequel after sequel to, and there's just no more story. And they get dumber mm-hmm. and dumber and dumber mm-hmm. because the people behind them are just trying to squeeze every penny out of them they can. Mm-hmm. In my opinion, that kind of diminishes mm-hmm. the original.
Yep.
The example that I love to use is Jaws. So when the first Jaws movie came out, it was groundbreaking. People were scared. People were afraid to go in a swimming pool, bro. I mean, the first Jaws was amazing. Mm-hmm. But there are only so many ways you can tell a story about a shark eating people. Mm-hmm. And yet, it didn't keep them from making Jaws 2, Jaws 3D, Jaws 4, and they just got dumber and dumber and dumber because there's just no more story there. Mm-hmm. I would even dare say that with Star Wars.
Yeah.
The story is over, and it was a great story, mm-hmm. and they told it. So now to say, hey, there's more money to be made in the Star Wars universe. Let's turn Luke into a girl and call her Rey. She grows up an orphan in a desert planet. Wow, that sounds familiar, just like Luke.
Yep.
There's another Death Star. We don't have Darth Vader. Let's have Kylo Ren. We don't have the Emperor. Let's have Snoke. The First Order is flying the same ships that the Empire did. They're wearing the same uniforms. Like, The story's over, and yet the people behind it want to make as much money as they can from it, so they just keep regurgitating. They'll tweak a few things, they'll change a few things. Like The Mandalorian is awesome.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I think The Mandalorian is great because it takes this small little segment from the Star Wars universe and it tells its own original story.
Yeah.
It doesn't just regurgitate the same story with a couple of tweaks. So I think we've all seen that happen way too often. So going back to your original question, if there was more Full Metal story to tell, I hope they do it.
Yeah.
But I would hate to see it done just for the sake of making a buck.
Yeah, that's very complicated. I mean, it's a business, money-making business.
Yeah, and I'm not diminishing making money. We all have bills to pay. We all have to make money to live. So I'm not dismissing making money. I'm just saying I hope that some of these things that so many of us love so much aren't diminished just for the sake of making a buck.
All right. And because I mentioned Avatar: The Last Airbender, real final question. What's been your favorite thing about the show so far?
Wow. I just really like the characterizations. I think Toph is my favorite character.
Yeah.
I just think she's so cool and funny and powerful and yet tiny and I love her.
I actually did an interview with her voice actress last month, and she is fantastic.
Really? Who is her voice actor?
She had her real name is Michaela Murphy, but at the time when she was doing the show as a girl, she used her stage name called Jessie Flower. But she's amazing. Like, I love her.
She did a great job. I'm not familiar with a lot of the voice actors. I mean, I know Dante Basket, who played Zuko, but I don't know that I know a lot of the other voice actors. But they did a great job. And I've heard that's one of those iconic shows that I've heard about for years, but I never saw. So I'm watching it now and I'm loving it. Watching it on Netflix and I'm enjoying it.
Well, yeah, it's like amazing, like just amazing storytelling, everything. It's just hard to like to create. It's just a lot of thought into going to it.
Oh, yeah, and they come up with a lot of really cool ideas. A lot of really cool ideas. I applaud the writers and directors of it. They did a great job.
Yeah.
But I just would love to say thank you to all the fans for their support and enthusiasm for my work over the years. And once this COVID stuff lets up and events start coming back, I will hope to meet them all and you as well, Stephen, at an event somewhere.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you for your time, Vic, and thank you, recorders, for all your questions, and thank you, Vic, for your time. I just repeated myself for some weird reason, and we are out.